Welcome back to Punk Rock Theologian. Today's video is not up to my usual standards because things are not normal. We had Hurricane Helene blow through here, and we're okay. My house is fine, but we have no power, probably won't until mid next week. We've got inspectors coming through the neighborhood and stuff, got a tree down in the backyard. So we're just trying to figure things out, and I was not able to record a podcast because the studio where I usually do it has no lights or electricity. So all I can do now is I wanted to share with you a thing that I came across just this past week. That it's a really cool piece of basically why it's so important to read the Bible for yourself. As someone who has read it plenty of times, I just discovered in Acts chapter 9 and 10 that Acts 9, I shared it a couple weeks back, that it's Paul's conversion. It's where this guy who was the crazy zealot fighting against Christianity meets Jesus and is radically transformed. That's the beginning of Acts 9. Then what happens in the second half of that chapter is this lady named Lydia dies, and Peter comes and raises her back to life. It's very much copying one of the miracles that Jesus did. And you see that happening for him. That's a significant thing because Lydia is the first time that the word disciple is explicitly applied to a woman. It was they were lumped in as the group of disciples earlier in Acts, but this is where it specifically identifies Lydia as a disciple. And that's a big thing. This culture, it was as offensive back then that it always just referred to the brothers in the original language as it is now, but for totally different reasons. People today get offended that it's oh, you're only talking about the men when you say the brothers and you're excluding the women. That's not the case at all. It really upset people back in the day that they were lumping women in and giving them the title of brothers because that gives them full and equal rights to the brothers, to the men. And that was a thing that people did not like about Christianity, that it valued women way too highly. It's crazy that 2,000 years later people say that, oh, it's devaluing. No, it's the thing that really propelled them to a level of value. It was the first thing that did that. But so that's what you see in the second half of chapter 9. And then chapter 10 is when Peter has this crazy vision and heads out to visit Cornelius and shares the gospel with Gentiles for the first time. And it took a lot of convincing for Peter to even do it. And then he gets in trouble with the leaders when he gets back home for going to Gentiles, and he has to explain to them, look, God did this, and the Holy Spirit came to them. What am I going to do, stand in the way? And it's this progression that I never saw before, that you start with Paul, and the gospel can reach a crazy, terrorist, basically. A guy who's an absolute murderer trying to kill Christians. The gospel can reach him. Oh, second half. The gospel, women are included. They are equal standing with men. They are full-on disciples, and they totally count. But then you get to chapter 10, and even after having just had both of those pieces, you get, oh, but Gentiles? Can the gospel really go to all these dirty Gentiles? And it took so much convincing, but it's just showing, yes, this is God's plan. It reaches everybody. It's the one that you never thought could possibly be reached. The guy who is so far gone that there's no chance for him. Yeah, Jesus reaches him. Oh, the women, this whole different category that, they don't really count in society. Yeah, Jesus cares about them and reaches them. Oh, the Gentiles, the ones who are completely disconnected from our religion, who do things all the wrong ways, and they're these dirty people that we shouldn't even associate with. No. Jesus reaches them and sends us to them. That's what's happening here. And that's still what Jesus is doing. That's what he wants from us. And so, I'm sorry I couldn't put the verses up for you. I would love you to go read Acts chapter 9 and 10. You kind of have to continue to 11 because that repeats 10. That's where Peter has to explain himself. But this is the story. This is what's going on. This is what Jesus is still doing. And in the meantime, pray for the people who got hit a lot harder than I did. There's a lot of devastation going on with this storm, and we're not out of the woods yet. Thanks.